We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
Since the beta, people started using demo rushes and grenadiers and half tracks, and it seems to be pretty effective as a diversion.
Deutschland von 1 hat 3/4 12 Bewaffnungsziele gelegt. Ich habe grundsätzlich immer erfüllt.
Mirror matches are a tricky thing. Lots of people do want the mirror matches, but there's their balance problems, you know? I mean, one of the things that I like to talk about...
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our honor.
This is Bridge 1 to TSN Central. Tales of Heroes is a go. Repeat, Tales of Heroes is a go.
He's looking at you. Welcome to Tales of Heroes here on the Team Sportscast Network. This is episode 13, video replay number 2. This is a listener-submitted replay here, and or viewer-submitted, participatory submitted, as it were. We'd like to remind you guys to check out TypeFrag, www.typefrag.com if you're looking for Ventrilo servers, and remember to check out Insomnia 365 if you're looking for game hosting for your Quake or your Battlefield or Counter-Strike servers. They're one of the best in the business. Definitely check out Insomnia365.com. Great support and a premium server hosting company. So, now that that's out of the way, I am Bridger. Joining me, of course, is my co-host Vittensby. Welcome again to the program, sir.
Always good to be here, and this is our first basically viewer submitted replay, so I'm looking forward to seeing what game we got going on here. I got no info on it. I don't know if you do, but I don't, and we'll see how it plays out. And again, it's just we're supposed to be helping out these guys on how to play better, so it's not exactly a pro replay, but it should be good to, see what's going on, and we're definitely helping out the community by, featuring this, I think.
Right, so we've got DZ on the Axis, who is the one who submitted the replay. We'll switch back over to his a little bit of the way through. Right now, I'm going to be covering Barton early in the game on the Allied side, and Vittensby will be watching DZ and sort of giving some pointers. So we'll see how the game unfolds. So we'll, without further ado, start the replay in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. And there we go. And let me turn on the game sounds, and we're ready to go here. We've got a barracks opening on Barton's side, which is usually pretty good on Semois. Sometimes you can go weapon support center in the middle and try and hold the town, but a barracks opening with jeep harassment and infantry harassment on the enemy's field point is very useful as well. We saw Cepha do that, I believe, in the game against Ahenian a while back. What was that, episode 5 or 6?
Yeah, something like that. I'm already noticing something that General DZ could be doing a little bit better. His positioning of the Wehrmacht is basically right where his Pioneers starts, which means that every squad he builds out of that is going to take longer to get onto the playing field. You want to build your Wehrmacht close to the bunker that's on the left. Somewhere around there is ideal because the short walk it takes for your Pioneers to get there basically saves all other squads that come out of that time to get onto the playing field. He's also capping the plus 10 munitions and the plus 10 fuel right by his base. Not a bad idea to cap the plus 10 fuel, but usually it's a fight over the high munitions, and you want to try to secure one of those as quickly as possible. MG42 opening, that's pretty standard, but and a bike. He's going with the MG to the left side of the map, and if the allied player is basically plans on going to the left side and garrisons that building early on with an engineer squad, more than likely that strategy is going to fail, and I just press up on the right and try to secure that high munitions. As you see, we have an engineer squad sitting right there, and if he's smart, then we're going to see him fall back. No, he shouldn't have retreated, and he's going to go into the building, which is what he should have done. and brought up the rifle squad. Also, if you get a rifle squad, the rifle squad will just barely beat the MG into that building as well. MG bike start is not what I would use on this map. I'd probably go either MG Volks or Volk MG, probably Volk first. It's a little bit safer.
Yeah, Volks is usually the safer opening. MG is risky, but it can pay off if you get it in a specific building early.
And we have a rifle squad coming up. It looks like he's trying to throw the MG into that all-important building that's right by the Allies' bridge, but without wiring off the right side, there's not that much use of that, so to speak, because they can just kind of go around it. Although it does catch the Allied player by surprise. Pretty good Jeep micro from Barton. He brought it around, although now he's showing his lack of micro. And
so what you're saying is
GG.
he might have just been doing it by accident before.
Damn it, Bridger. I think so. Yeah, idle Pioneer sitting in his base. We got another Pioneer squad coming out. He's already got 2 Pioneers, and he has 1 idling in his base. I would say don't build another Pioneer squad. Use the manpower for Volks.
There is an interesting tactic. I don't understand exactly why he is... Barton, rather, on the south victory point there, is wiring it off in a weird way. Now, he did, if you see there, he just built barbed wire so that his opponent couldn't get through that gap, but there is a gap down here that he could certainly get past. And you can't see that necessarily when you're looking at it like this. He might change that in a sec. The other thing is, even if he closes the gap next to this north stream, then the enemy can still get this strategic point, because you just have to be close to it, and he can be just on the other side of this wire and capture the victory point. So putting the barbed wire there does not stop him from capturing the victory point. As you can see right here, his Pioneers have come around the gap at the north. But if he had stretched the barbed wire from here to here, and then from here to here, he would have then been able to completely wire off this area. But instead, he put the barbed wire too close, and he neglected the north part. Now he's going to get the north part. It's still going to allow his opponent to capture this victory point from across the other side of the wire. However, Barton is condensed to his base right now, mostly.
Yeah, or forget that wire strategy altogether and just use that engineer to wire off the Axis bridge at this point would have been the best thing to do, which kind of would have reversed the strategy until he got into Tier 2. There's not really much on the right side of the map right now. Which is where I would have pushed. Barton was pretty smart with that wire where those riflemen are in the north. Putting that wire there is really nice. Horrible mistake by DZ. He Panzerfausted those riflemen. Never Panzerfaust infantry unless there's like 4 squads clumped up around.
Or it's an MG squad. It can really do
it
some
can be
damage
useful
to an
against
MG.
an MG. Yeah, it'll always kill the first guy, and then you can rush in. Sometimes that's useful, but don't Panzerfaust against riflemen, especially if you're going Tier 2. Well, just don't do it in general. It's totally a waste, and it usually only kills 1 guy. Barton moved his riflemen away from there, from capping the fuel, which was not smart because it was, and he's using another Panzerfaust. Well, I guess that time it wasn't necessarily a horrible thing, except for the fact he could have stayed in heavy cover and flushed and just killed those riflemen anyways. These Panzerfausts are going to set him back in munitions, but well, he's probably going to go Tier 3 anyways. We have a bunker coming up for General DZ. That's not really in the best position, considering if he gets a mortar, he can just mortar that bunker. I don't know if you can see it. It's just to the right of the strat point.
I can't see it. Right to the right of the strat point that he's capturing?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
It's right by that little well. If you want to build a bunker there, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, especially if you go defensive because you can reinforce. If you see that the building that he put that early MG in, just build it a little bit to the left of there, and that's actually pretty nice placement, and then throw the MG inside. Those Pioneers on the right should have went inside that building, and they would have easily won against those Engineer squad, but now the Engineers are in there.
And if you're
More
going to have
Volks
this kind of a battle, at least put your pioneers in cover. I mean, they're sitting there. There's a tree right next to them, and they're not in cover. So that's another thing you have to always be conscious about. And in this case, he's putting his riflemen inside of the building, which actually might be good, but if you look, the building's only got 4 different windows that can be shot out at this point. So he's got less firepower, and he's throwing his engineers in there. He's got less firepower here. He's got a lot of protection, but he's got a lot lower firepower because he's only able to shoot out with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 windows. Where his opponent is hitting him with everything he's got. I think because everything his opponent has is just pioneers at this point, and actually some Volks in the background, which are in cover. And there goes a Panzerfaust, which actually finished off an entire engineer squad. But as I said, if you look at those squads, he hardly did any damage because he was only firing with 4 units. His opponent was firing with the 5 here, and then another 6, if you include the pioneers and then the bike here.
Yeah, those 3 Panzerfausts could have been 6 mines. At this point, if you don't put a mine on that road right outside the bridge, you're going to have a quad come out on you real quickly. You have to put a mine there if you ever consolidate that position. In fact, put 2 mines, put 3 mines, put 6 mines, but just don't use 3 Panzerfausts. And also, if you're fighting against that building, fight it from the south. There's only 1 window there that fires out, and especially if you got all those squads, don't stand it next to where he was fighting for. We have some nades going off.
Did that tree just get killed by, what, a nade?
Probably.
It just sort of fell over, and I thought it was like because it gets shot too many times. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. He won that battle, if you can call that a victory, but, well, he won that battle. But at the same time, another Panzerfaust to kill
that's very expensive.
Yeah, that's 8 mines right there, and certainly 8 mines is going to do a lot more for him in the long run than all those Panzerfausts did now. We do have we have a Krieg Barracks coming up, and he went Blitz. Never go Tier 2 if you go Blitz, just for the fact that Stormtroopers are basically better versions of Grenadiers, and it's just not really the best doctrine choice. Usually if you go Tier 2, Terror Defensive is usually the best doctrine choice.
Oh my god!
And
Oh, wow! Those are so damn powerful, those grenades that the riflemen have. It just seems like they're always so much more powerful than even bundle grenades.
And also, there's no OP on his fuel. If you're going Tier 2, it's not necessarily a bad idea, but your opponent's going to build an OP on his fuel, so why not build an OP on one of the high munitions points if you're going Tier 2?
Yeah.
Let's see what he's making. He's making an AT gun. I wouldn't have gone Tier 2 in this position necessarily. I don't know. I mean, I would have gone Tier 2, but I guess in this position what I'm referring to is the fact that he went Blitz. I would have got a Stormtrooper squad, 2 Shreks. I would have had 8 mines on the field pretty much everywhere, and would have went maybe even tech. In this position, I probably just would have. I don't know. Maybe I would have went Tier 3. Why not? I mean, this is just such map control in his favor. I mean, there's just no way that Tier 2 is going to really help him out all that much, especially with Blitz. But Tier 3 might have been useful because it's a lot harder for allies to flank Stugs when you're the one on the defensive end. Stugs can be okay offensively, but they're much more better when you're just trying to hold the point, and especially when you get 3 of them. Tank traps going up on the left side by the bridge. Interesting placement of them.
Here, let's pause it so I can switch around and see him too.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll pause it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm at 11:29. What are you at?
Same point.
Okay, so then I'll just switch over so we can take a look at what the map looks like on General DZ's side, who submitted this replay. And that's actually, that's not too bad of a placement for the tank traps. It at least ensures that if the enemy comes, you're going to force him to go up north, and it's going to give you some more time to prepare to counter it. He might even finish it by going across the side there if he can. But you want to switch over to to Allies, or you just want to stay and we can both watch on the Axis
No, I'm
side?
at Allies right now. We can
Okay.
unpause it. Just
Okay.
do the countdown and we're good to go.
3, 2, 1, good to go. Okay, we've got a bunker on the right as well, and that's not too bad of a placement, but he really needs some mines in front of it, and he's got plenty of munitions. If he puts some mines down on that bridge, he's in good shape, but he needs something that is going to slow down or at least, hurt any tanks that come through there, because that bunker is going to stop any infantry for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, if Barton would have played this a little bit more aggressively, I think, not waiting for such a late game building like a tank depot, and would have got a quick quad out, or perhaps quad and M8. I think that he could have easily taken back map control, especially considering that DZ hasn't placed any mines anywhere and used so many Panzerfausts. I think the tank depot was a little bit of an oversight, considering, what is really one Sherman going to do at this point, especially if your opponent goes for a Tier 3 strategy, or even Tier 2, and gets a couple Grenadier squads and AT guns, around the left and right side, because he's basically pinned on his side of the bridge.
Yeah, let's consider then. So, if you're low on fuel and you're behind, it's usually not a good idea to save up to tank depot, because it's going to let your opponent consolidate his position. Rather, try and get the quickest advantage you can. And here comes a grenade. It's going to really hurt those Volks. Knocked out 2 of them.
Yeah, but he lost a squad in turn. He was nading with the wrong squad.
Yeah, that's true. But using this half-track to good use. He's got the machine gunner on the top actually doing some, damage to these units, and he's got his other units in heavy cover. So actually, General DZ is doing quite well here, I think. He's letting the half-track take the brunt of the force, and it's got an engineer squad in it, so it's not that big of a deal if it gets hit.
Bridger, is that 2 rows of tank traps that I'm seeing on the left side by the strap point?
Yeah, I think... Well, there's really no reason to do that, I don't think. I mean, if they're going to bust through 1 row of tank traps, they can get through 2.
Yeah, that's not exactly the best thing to do. Anyways, we have a Sherman that just came out, and I guess that'll counter the half-track. But, again, I mean, if you're going blitz, just don't go Tier 2. It's just not worth it. The only benefit you'd get from Tier 2 is AT guns. Yeah, so, I don't know. Half-tracks are nice, but I just don't know if even getting a half-track at that point was the best thing. More Panzerfausts. That was 2 Panzerfausts, wasn't it?
I don't think so, no. There goes a Panzerfaust. Oh, no, that's a Panzer Schreck coming. You must have seen at least 1, though. Now, I was at 200, now I'm down to 133 munitions.
Yeah.
But I did both those Panzerfausts miss? There's 2 more Panzerfausts, and now he's down to 45 munitions. Panzerfausts are just very, very heavy munitions. You want to use them to finish off a tank, or just to turn the tide. If you have a Stug versus a Sherman and they're both close to health, you use that Panzerfaust on the side of a Sherman and you basically turn the tide on it. But he really should have saved those munitions, retreated, because he's got a superior position. He's got an anti-tank gun over here. He could retreat to this bunker and just heal his units, not necessarily hit the retreat button, but back off to that bunker, heal his units, build some more Grenadiers, and use those 200 munitions to get 2 more Panzerschrecks. Instead, he keeps fighting against riflemen and a tank with only infantry. I mean, that's not going to survive.
No, it's not. That rifleman squad's probably going to die. If you get in a position where you own the entire map on Semois, and he's down to his base and trapped on his side of the river, really, just don't press the advantage. Build some tank traps, put some mines. I mean, there's no reason to try to risk losing units to do what?
Yeah, that was a big mistake right there.
Yeah, because this is exactly, it's too close to the opponent's base, and it's too far away from yours, and you're really not going to gain any advantage. The only advantage you could get is some kind of take down the OP on the fuel, maybe decap it, but if he's down to his base, that means everything he has is in his base, and if you're charging there, that means that you could already probably just sit. I mean, it means you could just sit there and consolidate your positions, or you could charge there and run into everything he's got, which is not a smart idea to do.
Right, he lost a lot of infantry, which is basically everything he had plus that half track. So right now he's got a lot of fuel. He should be pumping out a Stug, and that's exactly what he's doing. So that's good to see. He's got 2 AT guns. If he can put them in support of each other, he's got a very good position because he's got Dragon's Teeth on the right here. He's got tank traps on the left, but he did leave that hole open on the left, and that's exactly where the Sherman just went, which did not force it to go into his AT gun, and that's going to be a problem. If he brings up his Panzerschreck stormtroopers here and the Sherman to deal, I'm sorry, not the Sherman, the Stug to deal with this Sherman, then he's going to be okay. He needs to get up here and deal with it quickly before another one joins it, though. And he needs to get one of these AT guns forward and the other one covering the first. So if the Sherman tries to flank the first, he runs right into the second one. That's the most effective use of an AT gun, is to put an AT gun somewhere. Say you put an AT gun right up here, facing that direction, and you put the other one back here, aiming at your AT gun. So you have one AT gun covering the other's position, so it's very difficult to flank the first one without running directly into the scope of the second one. He has the first moving up, and this is not the greatest location for AT guns. There's a lot of buildings, no clear line of sight right now against the enemy tank. He could really use if he brings this other one up, but I don't think he's going to. He at least needs the stormtroopers up here to cover it, and he's got a Stug up here which can cover it as well. He might use the AT gun to cover the Stug.
2 comments real quick about Barton's play. Well, he let that MG, the MG upgrade inside the bunker fire on his Sherman, and he lost his gunner because of that. He should have moved out of the firing range of that. Also, killing that bunker wasn't exactly that important, really, at that particular time. He should have done some additional scouting in the center with that. Seen what he was going up against. He's running rifleman blind. There could have been another MG over there. Certainly, he should have, instead of that bunker, he should have been trying to see what was going on around there, so he knew what he was running into. I mean, even if he would have ran into a AT gun, or even 2, he more than likely could have got that out of there if he was paying attention. And his own Stug just killed his own AT gun.
Did it shoot it? Wow.
Yeah, it shot it.
Not good, but I mean, this is not the place to leave a Stug that's very low on health. And right now, instead of supporting his Stug and his AT gun in the middle and trying to finish off the one Sherman, he tried a flanking maneuver, but again, like you said, if he's pushed back to his base, the only place he has units is in his base. And it's not wise to send a shit ton of infantry trying to kill an observation post, and he's just leaving them down here. As soon as he saw this tank, he should have been retreating at least the engineers. At the same time, though, Barton should be firing at these stormtroopers and not everything else. There's no way Barton should lose this tank. If he had been firing at the stormtroopers, having his front towards the stormtroopers this entire battle, he never would have lost it. He would have been able to kill the stormtroopers early and would have won.
The rifleman in the center just threw a grenade at that building. It did absolutely nothing. Also, he had his Sherman head-on with the Stug, which the only reason why he won that battle was because he had 2 bars of veterancy.
And the Stug was damaged.
Yeah, exactly. And Barton should not have retreated those units. He should have decapped the victory point with the engineer, kept those rifles around there. He went armor company. He can call in a Calliope right now, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Did he lose that other Sherman?
Yeah, he lost the Sherman in the south. He instead of shooting at the I don't think he was paying attention to it, and instead of shooting at the stormtroopers, he was shooting at basically everything else that was there. He was shooting at the machine gun, he was shooting at the engineers, and all the while he had his ass faced towards those stormtroopers and just getting shot up. So that was how DZ actually took away his fuel. He's not going to gain any advantage by it, but now we're at 24 and 500, and the middle is about to be decapped. We've got a lot of momentum here in favor of Barton.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he can come back from this kind of problem. again, I mean, he lost a stormtrooper squad, but more importantly, that stormtrooper squad by the fuel dropped a Panzerschreck, which means that a rifleman squad or even an engineer squad, if you got nothing else, can pick that up. And against Stugs, that's just brutal. He really needs to not be capping these strategic points that are going to do nothing for him. He needs to get these VPs. Let's see how well he can micro that tank.
I don't know why he's using his Volks to just cap the VP. He should be Panzerschrecking that tank because he's got a Stug coming up. All he had to do, he could have taken it out. It's got 2 levels of veterancy. He needs to take it out. Instead, he's trying to capture the middle VP. I guess he figures he can just, if he holds on to this for another couple seconds, he'll be okay. And he called in a Stu 42, which is not the best thing to do.
Yeah,
now he finally
Barton's
decides to use the Panzerschreck, which is...
Panzerfest,
sorry. Which may just barely be enough, but it's being healed at the same time, and it's not going to be enough.
Why doesn't he just cap that point?
Well, he was starting to, and then he decided against it. I think if he had just used the Panzerfaust originally, then he would have been able to cap the point no problem. Now he's in trouble.
Calliope in the south getting rear-shotted by the AT gun. No micro there. He went the right side of the armor tree after getting the Calliope, and he got crew repaired vehicles, which basically means that he's invested 3 points into that. And at this point, I mean, a Pershing would really do him good. He's got 700 manpower.
The Calliope's actually gone around behind now, and it is really
those riflemen.
weak.
Yeah, it is. The rifleman in the center. I mean, he got crew repair vehicles, and he only has 100 munitions. That's not good. And that Calliope's toast.
Really, though, they just need... DZ needs to cap that center. The guy's got 21. Just cap the center and hold on to it for another couple minutes, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do. I noticed Stormtroopers really cap things fast.
Dunno.
Here he goes.
Yeah,
If I was DZ, I'd also just grab an engineer or pioneer squad, just build one and send it north and just decap that other VP just to force your opponent to deal with that. Because if he's got all his resources towards decapping one of your points to save himself, he might not notice if you send something up to grab the north and force him off of it.
Yeah, we have a Studs in the base. Studs are pretty good against base buildings. A lot better than Stugs are, actually. But to send one unaccompanied with anything else, that's just asking to get killed. But at this point in the game, I mean, does it really matter?
No, I guess not. 12 points right now.
And
He's got stormtroopers in the middle that are still not upgraded. I mean, he built these things a long time ago. They really should have Panzerschrecks here to help out this Stug. If they did... This Sherman would never be getting this right now.
And Barton doesn't have any micro with his Shermans. He just sits it there. I guess he doesn't realize that Stug frontal armor is ridiculous.
And very actually nice micro by DZ. He sort of backed it up, and then it went out of control.
He's going to...
3 tickets!
Well, if
2 tickets!
Nah, it's over. If he decaps us at 1, I'm going to throw up. No, it's not. It's gone. GG. Oh my god.
Wow. 500 to 1. 2 Stugs that are heavily damaged. I mean, they must have been hit by... What was that?
A barrage.
A Calliope barrage, right. Duh. I'm looking right at the Calliope. He really should be backing these Stugs up and just charging for the middle, or at least charging them back to repair. Instead, he's just letting them be killed. I mean, even though they've got strong front armor, they're very low health right now.
It's a Stu and a Stug.
Yeah.
And he's not microing his Cali at all. And that Stug is a damaged gun. I mean, it's destroyed.
Right.
Die already. Where's this coming from?
General DZ.
He's trying to kill a Calliope with a
Yeah, he's
Stu?
not going to be able to do that.
Die already. What's this all about?
He's talking to his own units, I guess, because he's facing a tank that is being repaired, and both guns destroyed on the... He should have retreated like 10 minutes ago. That's a big problem there. And now he's trying to bring up stormtroopers next to a base MG. to help. Why is he not backing the... finally he's backing the tanks out. No, he's turning them around! The only thing that saved them is they've had frontal armor towards it the whole time. I wouldn't be surprised if he loses both of them.
I'm going to quote Soldier here and say, oh, the pathing.
Yeah, you never, ever just grab them and tell them to go somewhere. Always give them orders individually and always back them up out of battle. And now what's he doing? He's turning around here.
Yeah.
He's got some more stormtroopers, and he's finally upgraded them this time. He's only got 73, so I'm not yelling at him this time. He's actually got his stormtroopers upgraded, and that's actually going to allow him to get the center back here and win.
But I don't want the replay to be over yet, Bridger.
You're right, pausing does reveal everything. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, bad manners for saying GG first when you win, by the way. Anyways.
So, yeah, I think a lot of the time DZ had trouble retreating his units when he should. He left them in battle often too long. Early in the game, we saw him make an attempt to attack this point here with pure infantry, and it just got completely raped by a tank, or it met up with his enemy's entire force. And he just sort of left it there fighting it out, and he lost a ton of his infantry, and he had to completely retreat instead of just sort of retreating back here. This AT gun was here waiting. He could have lured his enemy into it. Instead, he sort of fought it out over here with just Panzerfausts, rather, and that really wasn't going to be doing very well for him. And then later, again, we saw he had two tanks that were sitting here trying to face off a Calliope that was being repaired. They were both weak. It was only Stu that was left with actually a main gun, and so that was certainly another time when he really should have retreated and tried to pull his opponent into this AT gun, if he could have. That would have done him a lot. And the last mistake, I think that was probably a big problem, was he should have put Dragon's Teeth here, and that would have never let his opponent get any tanks around there to begin with, and would have forced him to come over this bridge that he had guarded with an AT gun. Any other thoughts, Fittensby?
No, just Barton really needs to micro his tanks instead of just letting them stand just toe-to-toe with Stugs with their front armor and not moving his Sherman at all. DZ needs to work on placing mines instead of Panzerfausting everything. 1 Panzerfaust is forgivable. 8 Panzerfaust not. Also, what's the deal? Was there no chance to get a Tiger at this point?
No. He had infantry assault team, urban assault team, and then he went for manpower blitz.
Oh, wow. Well, that's an error. And also, Barton decided to get crew repairs vehicles for absolutely no reason instead of continuing on the left side of the armor tree and getting a Pershing out, which would have done wonders against this Stug. Perhaps could have won him the game, especially considering DZ's choice to switch over to the right and not get Tigers.
Yeah, I think the Pershing really would have helped. Also, I think DZ should not have gone so often with the urban assault team because the STA is just not as useful. I think he should have gone with just a regular infantry assault team to get the stormtroopers, which are very useful, and then use the extra manpower to build more Stugs rather than Stas, or go to Tier 4 and maybe get some Panzers or a Panther. But yeah, I mean, it does. People are probably never going to send us stuff now. But I mean, we're just trying to help you guys out and give you tips on how to improve. Certainly, we're not perfect. As you saw in the last game, I made plenty of mistakes myself, so I'm not trying to say that we know everything. Hindsight is 20/20, of course, and we're sort of looking at this on an overall of we're not actually playing, we don't have pressure going on. Everybody makes a lot of mistakes under pressure. We're trying to point them out here so that you can go into the next game sort of thinking about them and considering, well, maybe I saw that, retreating earlier might have been a better option in this game. Maybe I should pay attention to that and try and see, am I not going to win this battle? I really should pull back, something like that. And, Panzerfausts shouldn't be used so frequently simply because they cost so many munitions. He could have had mines, because we saw him hold like tons of portion of the map. I mean, DZ had a huge chunk of the map. If he had just consolidated that and put mines like around the VP area, put them in strategic locations like on this road, just north of this section here is a very common route for the Allies to take, down on this bridge right here, he would have been in very good position to stop any kind of Allied push with tanks or infantry. Those kind of mines would really have helped him out. And he went blitzkrieg, so if he really wanted something to help him, he could have gotten the grenades earlier. Instead of wasting those Panzerfaust, he could have got the grenade assault. What do they call that? Grenade assault?
Assault.
Right? Assault,
yeah. I think it's called assault.
So, I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no final comments here. I think we covered it. I don't think it was such a bad replay to have as the first one.
No, I think there was a lot of important tips in there.
Oh, definitely.
So like I said, if you would like to have your play butchered, send a replay to talesof@tsncentral.com. That's TALESOF@tsncentral.com. And we'll do our best to get you sort of acquainted with any flaws that you're making. And like I said, we're not perfect either. Neither are any of the top players. They make a lot of mistakes too. We'll try to point out the more obvious ones and give you guys things to think about the next time you're going into a game, and sort of our own valuation ideas that we don't consider the Panzerfaust really worth using over and over and over again because it is so expensive and you might need those munitions for something else. So at least gives you another opinion to go with rather than just the one that you sort of developed yourself. So I guess that's it. Vittensby, anything else?
No. Did you want to give them a preview and tell them we will have a show on Christmas and perhaps a replay review on New Year's that we'll put on the site?
Yeah, because we have New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve, I think we're going to record stuff this week, and we'll probably have a show next week and then like a replay review the week after, so that we'll have something for the next 2 weeks. Unfortunately, we'll be going places. I certainly have things to do over the holidays. I got to move into my new apartment, which means, unfortunately, this is likely to be the last live Tales of Heroes. We'll still have Tales of Heroes every week. We'll still put it up for podcast every week and on demand every week on Sundays. Likely. We might have to change today. We'll see how it goes. But it's likely to be the last live Tales of Heroes because my new apartment is charter cable and charter struggles at life in general. So I cannot get high enough upload speed to do things live anymore. But certainly you'll still get a show every week. It'll just be in downloadable or streamable format instead of live every Sunday at 8. We'll probably just put the links up around Sunday at 8. We'll see how things go. But so next week, we'll hopefully have a show. The week after that, we'll have a replay review because it is Christmas and New Year's Eve. Those won't be live, obviously. We'll record them this week and get them to you next week and the week after. And the week after that, I might actually be in Vegas for the WSVG All-Stars tournament. But let me look at a calendar here, if I'm right. December. So December is the 17th. The 24th is Christmas Eve. That's next week. The 31st is New Year's Eve. And then January 2007, the 7th, I'll be in Vegas. So hopefully we can record something early January so I can release something on the 7th also. We'll see how that goes. I will try and make sure we don't miss another week like we had to last week. So don't worry about that, guys. I guess that's it. Send your feedback to us. Tell a friend about the show. And we're out. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks for listening. And send your questions to our email as well. If you have any questions, we're going to do a question and answer show in the future. Talesof@tsncentral.com. TALESOF@tsncentral.com. I can't spell.
TSN, the Team Sportscast Network.
This broadcast is copyrighted 2006 by the Team Sportscast Network. Any copying, reproduction, redistribution, modification, rebroadcasting of any kind or any manner is expressly prohibited without the written permission of the Team Sportscast Network, LLC.